Hello, dear listener. Tonight we're diving into the world of high seas and hidden coves. Not the Hollywood version of pirates with treasure maps, charming rogues, and parrots on shoulders, but the raw, grimy, dangerous reality of life on a 17th century pirate ship. You might think you'd be ready to climb aboard, sword in hand, wind in your hair, but trust me, you'd be lucky to make it past breakfast. This wasn't an adventure, it was a constant fight against disease, starvation, punishment, and the sea itself. If you're enjoying these kinds of stories, I'd really appreciate a quick like or even a subscribe. It helps more than you know. And I'm always curious, where are you listening from tonight? Drop a comment with your location and what time it is there. I love seeing our little global crew connecting across time zones. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's drift into tonight's journey together. We're going to explore why you probably wouldn't survive even a single day on a 17th century pirate ship. Waking up at sea, it starts before sunrise. There's no soft mattress, no warm sheets, and definitely no gentle alarm clock. You're curled on the hard, splintered wood of the lower deck, cramped between sweating bodies, the rank stench of unwashed men, damp mold, and last night's piss lingering in the air. The ceiling above your head is so low you can't sit upright without smacking your skull into a beam. And there's no privacy, not for sleeping, not for changing, and definitely not for relieving yourself. You wake up not because you're rested, you're not, but because someone coughed in your face. A deep, wet cough that might mean tuberculosis. Or maybe just a lung full of sea spray. Either way, it doesn't matter. The quartermaster's about to come below deck, and you don't want to be the last one on your feet. There's no official wake-up call, just the slam of boots on the stairs and a bark command from a voice that's probably been screaming orders for decades. On deck, all hands. You stumble upward, clothes already damp and clinging to your skin. You slept in them, just like everyone else. There's no wardrobe on board. No spares. What you've got is what you wear until it rots off your back. The air above deck hits you like a slap. It's bright, briny, and cold, or maybe blistering, depending on your latitude. The sun, if it's rising, is masked by grey mist and salt spray. Seabirds circle overhead, and you hear the creak of ropes, the flap of torn sails, and the ever-present groan of the wooden beast you're sailing on. This is your home now, a floating coffin stuffed with angry men, desperate for gold or just a chance at freedom. You're immediately put to work. There's no coffee, no breakfast spread, no warm fire, just orders. Scrub the deck, check the rigging, haul the anchor chain, and you better not complain. The last man who mouthed off got tied to the mast and flogged until his back looked like raw meat. That was 2 days ago. No one's seen him since. Rumor is they threw him overboard. Or maybe he jumped. Honestly, you're not sure which would be worse. Part 2. The workload never ends. On a pirate ship, there's no such thing as a lazy morning. Every moment of the day is claimed by backbreaking labor. If the ship's not in battle, it's being patched. If it's not being patched, it's being cleaned. And if it's not being cleaned, it's being prepared for storms or for potential victims. Because make no mistake, this isn't a pleasure cruise. This is a warship, and everyone on board is both predator and prey. Today, you're swabbing the deck. Not with a mop, those are for landlubbers. You're on your hands and knees with a chunk of rough canvas, scrubbing salt, fish guts, and human waste off the planks. The smell is unbearable. You gag, wipe your mouth, and keep going. If you don't finish fast enough, someone will finish for you, with the butt of a musket or the flat of a cutlass. Up in the rigging, a few men balance on ropes 20 feet above the deck, tightening sails that threaten to tear with every gust of wind. You hope you're not next. You've never climbed that high before, and there's no safety net. If you fall, the ocean is your coffin. If you're lucky, you'll drown. If not, you might get caught in the lines and break every bone on the way down. All of this, and it's still not even noon. Hunger, hierarchy, and the brutal routine. By midday, your stomach is a hollow drum. You haven't eaten since yesterday, and even then, it wasn't much. Maybe a handful of hardtack. Maybe a sliver of salted meat, already buzzing with tiny worms. Maybe nothing at all. Food on a pirate ship isn't about taste. It's about survival, and sometimes, barely that. You finally get your ration. Today, it's hardtack, a dense biscuit so hard you have to smash it with the butt of a knife before gnawing on it. It's dry, flavorless, and crawling with weevils. Everyone eats them. Some pirates tap the biscuit first, knocking out the bugs. Others don't bother. Protein is protein, after all. You take a bite, and it crumbles like sawdust in your mouth. It's disgusting, but you swallow it anyway, because hunger doesn't care. If you're lucky, you get a bit of salt pork. Pork is a generous term. This meat has been sitting in barrels for weeks, maybe months. It smells like old socks soaked in seawater and is covered in a thick layer of brine. It's chewy, stringy, and makes your stomach churn. But again, you eat. Because there's no alternative. To wash it down, you get a ration of grog, a mix of rum and water. Not because pirates are trying to party, but because the water alone would make you sick. After sitting in barrels for weeks, it's green, slimy, and foul. Rum makes it tolerable, barely. Some men drink more than their share and stumble through the duties. Others hoard theirs, trading it for favors or saving it for rougher nights. And they do come. Rougher nights. They always do. Hierarchy on board is strict. You're not equal to the others, not even close. There's the captain, of course. Then the quartermaster, who dishes out rations and punishments. Then the bosun, the gunner, the navigator. Everyone below them, like you, are just hands. Tools. Replaceable. You don't get a say in what happens. You follow orders or you get disciplined. That could mean extra work, extra lashes, or worst of all, marooning. Yes, marooning. If the crew really hates you, if you steal from the rum stores, or sneak rations, or disobey the captain, they don't always kill you outright. No, they might row you to a tiny strip of sand somewhere in the middle of the ocean and leave you there. With nothing but a pistol and one shot. If the thirst doesn't get you, the heat will. If not the heat, then madness. Or sharks. Or your own desperation. Life on the ship is cruel. There are no days off. No breaks. You sleep when you can. You eat what you're given. You endure the stink, the sweat, and the screams. In between tasks, you might be ordered to patch sails, recoil ropes, or scrape barnacles off the hull. That last job means being lowered over the side in a rope harness with a dull knife in hand, scraping the wood while praying you don't slip, or worse, attract sharks. The crew calls it feeding the fish when someone goes overboard. It's not a joke, not really. And when you're not working, you're watching your back. Everyone on board is armed. Knives tucked into boots, pistols stuffed in belts, cutlasses leaning against barrels. Fights break out constantly, over food, over insults, over imagined slights. One wrong word and you might find yourself bleeding on the deck, the taste of salt and blood mingling in your mouth. If the ship's been sailing a long time without finding a target, tensions rise. Boredom is dangerous. Men gamble with dice, carve designs into wood, or fight for fun. Some draw tattoos with makeshift needles and gunpowder ink. Others just drink themselves into a stupor. But not everyone drinks. Some are always alert, watching, waiting, ready to report you, or rob you, or worse. Trust is a rare currency on board, and betrayal is common. And don't forget disease. There's no doctor on board. Not a real one. Maybe a surgeon with rusty tools and no anesthesia. If you get an infected tooth, they'll yank it out with pliers. If your leg gets gangrene, they'll cut it off with a saw. No sterilization, no sutures, just a bottle of rum and something to bite down on while you scream. There's scurvy too. The silent killer, caused by lack of vitamin C. Gums swell and bleed. Teeth fall out. Your joints ache. Your skin bruises from nothing. If you're lucky, the ship finds citrus on land in time. If not, you rot from the inside. This is the life you signed up for. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you were forced aboard during a raid, or tricked, or fleeing the gallows. Either way, you're here now, trapped on a floating, splintered, stinking hellscape. And it's only the afternoon. The sea is not your friend. By now, the sun has passed its peak and is beginning its slow descent into the horizon. But time doesn't really matter here. The sky, the wind, the sea, they decide everything. And today, the sea is in a foul mood. You're below deck again, this time helping shift barrels. The ship has begun to pitch, gently at first, but then harder. The floor tilts beneath your feet as the waves outside grow more aggressive. Thunder rumbles in the distance. Rain is coming, maybe more than rain. Storms at sea are not rare, but they are always dangerous. The ship groans and creaks like it's alive, a wooden beast struggling to stay afloat in an ocean that wants to swallow it whole. You're sent back up top, along with the others. Orders come rapid fire now. Secure the rigging, reef the sails, tie down everything that might fly loose. The wind picks up, howling like something wild. Rain lashes your skin like needles. You slip once, then again, grabbing a rope just in time. Men scream to be heard over the roar. Someone falls, a splash, then silence. No one stops. No one looks. He's gone. Your hands are raw, gripping rope slick with rain and salt. The deck is chaos. Buckets rolling, barrels clanging, the mast groaning. Lightning cracks across the sky, illuminating terrified faces for just a second before the dark returns. You learn fast that the sea doesn't care about your fear. It doesn't care who you are, how old you are, or what dreams you once had. It is vast, ancient, and merciless. You are a speck, and at any moment, it could wipe you away. Below deck, water starts to pool in the corners. The bilge pump crew is already working, cranking with aching arms to keep the hold from flooding. The smell of seawater, mold, and vomit blends into a thick, choking scent. You press on. Hours pass, or maybe only one. Time stretches in a storm. Eventually, the worst of it passes. The rain softens. The wind dies down. The crew slumps, soaked and shivering. You've made it through, this time. But the ship has taken damage. A sail's been torn in half. The foremast is cracked. 2 men are missing. One of them was your bunkmate. You barely knew his name, but now his hammock hangs empty. You wonder if anyone will take his spot, or if it'll stay that way. Silent. A reminder. There's no memorial. No service. No marker. He was here. Now he's not. That's pirate life. The crew gets to work immediately. Sails must be patched, beams reinforced, lines checked and rechecked. There's no pause for grief. No room for rest. Your shift ends, eventually. You're soaked, exhausted, and numb. You stumble back to your corner below deck and collapse into damp cloth and creaking timber. You cough, hard. Your chest aches. You wonder if you caught something. You hope not. But you know the truth. If you get sick, no one will save you. Battle on the horizon, blood, fire, and the cost of plunder. You barely sleep. Not that it would matter. Dawn creeps in unnoticed beneath the thick clouds clinging to the horizon. The usual barked orders drag you up before your eyes are even fully open. Every part of your body aches, shoulders from hauling, legs from balancing on the swaying deck, hands from gripping splintered rope. But there's no time to stretch, no time to ease into the day. Today feels different. The crew is unusually tense. Conversations are hushed. Weapons are being checked. Pistols laid out, powder dried, flintlocks tested. You see blades being sharpened with practiced hands. The air smells like oil, rust, and something sharper, anticipation. Word spreads fast. A ship has been spotted. A merchant vessel, they think. Flying neutral colors, but likely carrying cargo. Could be textiles, or sugar, or rum. Could be gold. Could be slaves. It doesn't matter. The captain has already decided. The course is set. By noon, you'll be close enough to engage. This is what piracy is, not just misery in storms and rotten food. It's blood. It's violence. It's taking what doesn't belong to you because no one else will give it. And you're part of it now, whether you want to be or not. You're issued a cutlass. It's chipped, the hilt wrapped in old cloth. A pistol too, if you're lucky. If not, just a boarding spike. One shot is all you get with the pistol. Then it's blade, fist, or whatever your hands can hold. You tuck it into your sash and pretend your heart isn't hammering against your ribs. You line up with the rest of the boarding crew, shoulder to shoulder with men who've done this a dozen times. Some of them have scars, long, jagged reminders of past raids. One has a missing eye. Another wears a necklace made of teeth, not animal teeth. The lookout calls out. The target is in sight. You scramble to the side of the ship, clinging to the ropes and looking out over the endless blue. There it is, a 3-mast merchant ship, smaller than yours, slow and heavy with cargo. A perfect victim. The captain yells. The gun crews jump to life. Cannons are loaded. Powder, shot, wadding, shoved into gaping barrels by sweating arms. The smell of black powder fills the air. Then the first shot is fired. It's deafening. Your ears ring. The ship rocks slightly from the recoil. The cannonball sails through the air and slams into the side of the merchant ship with a crunch of wood and a plume of splinters. You hear screaming, faint but distinct. More shots follow. Return fire whistles overhead. One cannonball smashes into your deck, killing a man instantly. His body is thrown like a rag doll. You don't have time to stare. The order is given, prepare to board. The ships draw closer, closer, until their hulls nearly scrape. Grappling hooks are thrown. Lines are pulled tight. The gap narrows. Shouts echo across the waves. And then you leap. You barely make it, scrambling onto the enemy deck with your weapon drawn. Chaos erupts. Men clash in a blur of motion. Steel on steel. Pistols explode in flashes of smoke. The air is a whirlwind of screams, gunfire, and shouted curses. Someone swings at you. You duck. You swing back. You don't know if you hit them. There's blood on your arm, yours. Theirs. You don't stop to check. The ship rocks beneath you. Fire breaks out near one of the gun ports. Smoke stings your eyes. A man is thrown overboard, screaming. Another is stabbed in the throat and drops without a sound. You see a man, barely older than you, crawl away, clutching a shredded leg. No one helps him. And then it's over. The merchant crew surrenders. The white flag is raised. You fall to your knees, panting. You've never felt more alive. Or more sick. Bodies litter the deck. Some of them groan. Most are still. The smell of blood is thick and metallic. You wipe your face and feel ash, sweat, and blood smear across your cheek. Looting begins immediately. The hold is broken open. Crates of sugar, casks of rum, bolts of silk. A few chests of coins, not gold, but silver and copper. The quartermaster barks out the tally. Everything is documented, sorted. A share will be distributed later. The prisoners are brought on deck. Some are wounded. A few are begging. One won't stop crying. The captain makes a decision. The able-bodied are given a choice, join or jump. Some do, some don't. The ones who refuse, they're locked up. You don't ask what happens next. You return to your ship, exhausted. Blood-soaked. You don't feel triumphant. You feel hollow. You stare out at the open sea, the sun dipping low. The sky is turning the color of rust. And you wonder, how many more times? How many more ships? How many more fights before it's your blood on the deck? That night, there's celebration. The cook makes something warm, a rare stew of salted pork and hardtack, soaked in rum. The men sing, drink, and pretend they're not broken inside. Coins are flipped. Rum is spilled. A few men weep into their mugs when they think no one's watching. You sit silently, your stomach full but your mind restless. This is the price of plunder. Tomorrow, it begins again. Life below deck, misery, monsters, and the madness of the deep. The sun rises again, though you hardly notice. Sleep, if you found any, was short and shallow. The nightmares were worse than the reality, but only just. You lie awake for a while, staring at the underside of the deck above you. Every beam is slick with moisture. You can hear the creaking of wood, the moaning of the hull, the slow, rhythmic slap of water against the side. The ship is always talking, always reminding you that you're not in control. You sit up. Or try to. Your back protests. Your neck is stiff, and everything smells. Sweat, mold, rot, unwashed flesh, old food. The lower deck is a stew of human misery. There are no windows, no light except what filters in through cracks and the occasional open hatch. Just shadows and shapes. Men cough in the darkness. Someone groans. Someone else is whispering a prayer. You stand and make your way past rows of hammocks, crates, barrels, and bodies. Some are asleep. Some are pretending. Some are too sick to care. You step over a rat. It doesn't flinch. It's used to you now. You're part of the scenery. One man is scratching furiously at his arms. You glance and look away. It's scabies, or fleas, or lice. Could be anything, really. No one's clean. Not really. You've scratched yourself raw more than once. At first you tried to hide it. Now you just join the scratching chorus. Above deck, the fresh air stings your lungs in a good way. The sky is clear. The sea is calm. It won't last. It never does. You're not working today, not yet. You're on watch tonight, which means you have a few hours of restless, uncertain freedom. You think about writing something down, but you don't have paper. You don't have ink. You barely have thoughts that aren't tinged with salt and fear. Instead, you wander. You stop by the galley. The cook is asleep, slumped on a barrel. A few men are helping themselves to whatever's left in the pot. Some kind of thin broth. Smells like fish and old socks. You pass. In the corner, a few pirates are carving dice from bone. Human bone, probably. No one asks questions. They wave you over to join, but you shake your head. You've lost too much already. You check on the powder room. The gunner's mate is there, checking fuses, adjusting bags of powder. He doesn't look up. The room is death itself. One spark, one careless move, and you're all gone. You step away quickly. In the hold, it's even worse. Crates stacked high, some leaking, some oozing. Rats scurry underfoot, bold and fat. They're thriving. You envy them. One crate contains something you didn't expect. Chains. Shackles. You stare at them for a long time. The implication is clear. Whoever was carrying this cargo before you raided them, it wasn't just rum and sugar they were transporting. You move on, your stomach twisting. You head to the bow. Alone, at last. The sea stretches out forever, blue, endless, unknowable. There's something deeply wrong about it. Beautiful, yes, but also hungry. You've heard the stories. Sirens that sing men to their deaths. Kraken that crush ships like driftwood. Ghost ships with glowing sails and no crew. You used to laugh at those tales. Now you're not so sure. You've seen things. Shadows under the surface. Lights where no lights should be. Once, you swore you saw a face in the water, wide, pale, staring. Then it vanished. Maybe it was just exhaustion. Maybe not. There's something about spending every day surrounded by the sea that does something to the mind. It isolates you, not just from land, but from time, from reason, from sanity. Days blend. Nights blur. You start to forget what quiet sounds like. At night, you hear the sea whispering. It knocks on the hull, soft and patient, like it's asking to come in. Sometimes, you think you'll say yes. A man once walked off the edge. Just stepped over the side, smiling. No one caught him. No one tried. They say he whispered something before he went. Something about hearing the song. You don't ask what that means. You don't want to know. Later, you find the surgeon. He's not a real doctor, not really. Just the one who was least squeamish. He's boiling tools in a pan. Rusty knives, saws, forceps. Nearby, a man lies pale and trembling. His leg is black and swollen. The surgeon glances at you. Hold him down, he says. You hesitate, then move. You grip the man's shoulders as the surgeon begins to saw. The scream is terrible. You hold fast. The leg comes off. The man passes out. The room reeks of blood and iron. You step out, shaking. Above, the crew is singing again. Always singing, shanties with lyrics too obscene to repeat. Laughter that doesn't quite sound real. Some of them are drunk. Some are crying. Some are both. This is how pirates stay sane, or pretend to. They sing, they gamble, they drink, they fight. They tell stories, some true, some exaggerated, some pure fantasy, about treasure buried on distant shores, about battles won and lost, about monsters and miracles. You pretend to listen, you pretend to believe, you pretend you're not becoming one of them. You catch your reflection in a bit of polished brass. You hardly recognize yourself. Your hair is longer, your eyes are sunken, your skin is darker, harder. You've changed. You wonder if there's a version of you back home, waiting. Someone clean, someone kind. You wonder if that version is gone. Night falls. Your shift begins. You take your place at the stern, lantern swinging gently in the breeze. The stars are out, brilliant, scattered across the black. You see constellations you never knew existed. You see nothingness in every direction. You think about the land. You can barely remember what it smelled like. Grass, earth, flowers. You think about trees, about streets, about food that didn't crawl or rot. About warmth that didn't come from rum or body heat. You think about silence that wasn't threatening. You think about sleep. But the ship creaks. The sea whispers, and the stars blink overhead like indifferent gods. You are so far from land, so far from peace, and so far from who you used to be. Justice, discipline, and the dark side of pirate democracy. The next morning, a bell is rung, not to signal a meal, or a sighting, or a shift change. No, this bell signals judgment. Word spreads quickly, a thief has been caught. Someone stole from the quartermaster's chest. A handful of coins, maybe more. No one knows the details. No one needs to. On a pirate ship, theft isn't just a crime, it's a death wish. You gather with the rest of the crew on the main deck. The accused is already there, tied to the mast. Shirtless, barefoot, wide-eyed. He's young, younger than you, maybe. A recruit from the last raid, one of the ones who chose the sea over being thrown overboard. You've barely spoken to him. Now you may never get the chance. The quartermaster steps forward. He reads the charges aloud, voice booming over the waves. The crew is silent. There's no shouting, no laughter. This is serious. The pirate code, the articles, is clear. Theft from a fellow pirate is punishable by marooning, flogging, or worse. You remember signing it. Every man aboard did. A crude parchment with rough rules agreed upon in a haze of rum and fear. You barely remember what you read. But this part, you remember. There's a vote. That's how pirate justice works. The crew decides. One man, one vote, captain included. Pirate ships are brutal, but they're also oddly democratic. If you want to punish someone, you need the majority. The vote is swift. Heads nod, hands raise. A few abstain. One or two even argue for mercy. But it's not enough. The majority has spoken. The punishment is flogging. You've seen it before, but not like this. The bosun steps forward with the cat-o'-nine tails, a whip with multiple knotted cords, each one embedded with sharp bits of metal or bone. Designed to rip, not just sting. The first strike lands with a sound like a gunshot. The man screams. Blood spatters the mast. The second comes. Then the third. You lose count. By the time it's over, the young man is unconscious. His back looks like it was mauled by a wild animal. The crew disperses. No one claps. No one cheers. It's not about vengeance. It's about order. The man is dragged below deck. He'll live, maybe, if the wounds don't fester. If the salt doesn't infect them. If he doesn't throw himself overboard out of shame. This is pirate justice. Fast, brutal, public. but surprisingly fair in its own twisted way. There are no kings here. No judges. No royal decrees. Just a crew of outlaws trying to keep their chaos from swallowing itself whole. You return to your duties, but the image stays with you. The sound of the whip. The way the man trembled before the first blow. You wonder if you'll ever end up in his place. One mistake, one bad night, that's all it takes. Later, the captain holds a meeting. He doesn't do this often. But today, there's a decision to make. There are whispers of a nearby Spanish treasure fleet. Ships loaded with silver from the New World, sailing in a convoy with armed escorts. Attacking him is madness, but also, maybe, the score of a lifetime. The captain outlines the risk. The rewards. Then he steps back. And the crew votes. You're amazed, again, at the process. This isn't a navy. There's no admiral barking orders from a throne. Everyone has a say, even you. The vote is close. Some men want to play it safe. Others want to strike while the weather is calm. In the end, the decision is made. Pursue. Preparation begins immediately. Weapons are checked. Sails are trimmed. Powder is dried. You're put on lookout duty, a job you hate. It means climbing high into the rigging, where the ropes sway and snap with every breeze. You're not afraid of heights, not anymore, but you're afraid of falling. Because up there, there's no saving you. Still, you climb. The crow's nest is little more than a wooden barrel nailed to the mast. You squeeze into it and scan the horizon. Hours pass. The sun beats down. Your eyes burn. The sea stretches endlessly. And then you see it. A flicker. A shape. Masts. Sails. A convoy. You shout. The signal is passed. The ship veers. Speed increases. The crew comes alive. There are 5 ships in the convoy, 3 merchants, 2 escorts. They haven't seen you yet. Or maybe they have, and they're pretending not to. Doesn't matter. You're going in. The captain outlines the plan. Hit the outer merchants fast. Avoid the escorts. Take what you can and run. It's insane. It's reckless. It might work. You ready your blade. Your pistol. You check your boots, your belt. You try not to think about dying. The ship gains speed. The water churns beneath the hull. The crew roars. You shout too, even though your throat is dry. Cannon fire starts the dance. The target ship splinters on one side. Men scream. The escort ships scramble. Your captain orders a sharp turn. You flank them. Then it's time to board. You leap again, feet hitting unfamiliar deck. This time you're faster. You know what to do. Block, swing, duck, jab. You see a man fall with a hole in his chest. Another is thrown into the sea. You make it to the hold. Silver, crates of it, bars, coins, goblets. The smell of wealth is different. Cold, heavy, final. The quartermaster marks it. The loot is transferred. Then someone shouts, reinforcements. You flee. Cannons roar behind you as the pirate ship pulls away. You hear the sharp whine of musket balls. A man beside you slumps, dead before he hits the deck. You don't look back. When it's over, the ship limps away. Smoke trails in the sky. Bodies float behind you. Your arms are shaking. Your legs ache, but you're alive. And you're richer, by a little. Back on board, the crew is wild. Laughing, singing, drunk on survival. The loot is counted, divided. You get your share, a few coins, a piece of silver. It feels heavy in your hand. But it doesn't feel like victory. That night, there's another storm. Smaller, fiercer, the kind that shakes your bones. You lie in your hammock, staring up at the ceiling, thinking about justice. About luck. About what makes a man steal. About what makes another man vote to punish him. About what kind of world exists where democracy happens at sword point. You think about the articles. The code. The rules you live by now. And you wonder how long you'll live at all. Shore leave, temptation, trouble, and the illusion of freedom. After weeks at sea, the horizon finally breaks, not with sails or storm clouds, but with the dark, rugged outline of land. An island, safe harbor. The captain gives the order to anchor, and for the first time in over a month, the crew breathes easy. Shore leave is rare, precious, and dangerous. It's not just a chance to stretch your legs. It's a test of discipline, of restraint, and for some, it's a reminder of a life they'll never return to. As the longboats are lowered, you watch the shoreline grow closer, a dense jungle of palms, uneven cliffs, and a cove so still it almost feels staged. Pirates know these places well. Hidden islands, forgotten ports, neutral territory where ships can rest, trade, and recruit, if they're lucky. You step onto land with bare feet, the sand surprisingly warm. It feels wrong under you, solid, unmoving. Your legs sway slightly, your balance used to a shifting deck. You're not the only one. A few men stumble, others drop to their knees and kiss the ground. One begins crying, no one mocks him. The captain gives instructions, 2 days to rest, repair, and resupply. After that, the ship sails with or without anyone left behind. That's not a threat. It's a tradition. The island has a small settlement. Not quite a town, more a loose gathering of shacks, taverns, and trading posts. It smells of smoke, salt, and fermented fruit. Stray dogs wander between the huts. Chickens squawk. A group of locals watch you silently as you pass. You nod. They don't nod back. The crew disperses quickly. Some head for the nearest tavern. Others to the market. A few disappear into the jungle. You're not sure why. You don't ask. You follow a small group toward the dockside bar, a structure held together with driftwood, palm fronds, and stubbornness. Inside, it's hot, dark, and packed. The air is thick with sweat, rum, and something unidentifiable. Music plays, rough, rhythmic, and just out of tune. Laughter follows, then shouting. It's already beginning. You order a drink, something cloudy, strong, and questionably legal. It burns on the way down, but it calms your nerves. You drink another, then a third. Around you, the chaos builds. A dice game turns into a shouting match. A man accuses another of cheating. Someone pulls a knife. You step back. The bartender doesn't even flinch. He's seen this 100 times. You leave the tavern and wander toward the market. It's not large, but it's full of strange things. Bottles filled with colored powders, dried animal skins, tins of preserved fruit. A woman offers you a carved charm, says it keeps the sea spirits away. You laugh. She doesn't. You buy it. Nearby, a group of locals offer fresh fruit, real fruit. Pineapples, mangoes, limes. You pay in silver. The taste explodes in your mouth. It's the first time you've eaten anything without salt in months. You buy more. A man tries to sell you a map. Says it leads to buried treasure. You don't believe him, but you buy it anyway. As night falls, the island changes. The fires glow brighter. The drums grow louder. The shadows move differently. Back in the tavern, things have escalated. One man is dancing on a table. Another is asleep under it. A fight breaks out in the corner. You recognize one of the brawlers, a crewmate. He's losing, badly. You consider helping, then don't. Instead, you head toward the beach. It's quieter here. The stars reflect off the still water. You hear singing in the distance, not from the tavern, but from the jungle. A woman's voice, high, eerie, and impossible. You turn back. On the way to the ship, you pass 2 men dragging another. He's unconscious. They say he overdosed on something he drank. You don't ask what. They say he's not dead. Yet. Shore leave is freedom. But freedom without limits is just chaos. Back on the ship, you find a quiet spot and sit. You look out at the island. You think about staying, just not returning, disappearing, blending into the trees, starting over. You've heard stories of pirates who did that. Left it all behind, found peace. But you know the truth. There's no peace for men like you. Not anymore. Not after what you've seen. Not after what you've done. So you sleep. Day 2 is worse. The crew returns slowly. Some don't return at all. One man is found dead in the jungle. Another is missing a finger. No one talks about what happened. The captain is furious, but not surprised. You spend the day working, helping patch sails, clean barrels, inventory supplies. It's a welcome distraction. By nightfall, the ship is ready. At dawn, you sail. The island fades into the mist behind you. The shore disappears, and with it, the illusion of freedom. You're back on the water now. Back to the creak of wood, the slap of waves, the constant motion. Back to the life you chose, or the one that chose you. And already, you miss the solid ground beneath your feet. Superstition, spirits, and the fear you don't admit. The wind is calm. Too calm. 3 days out from the island, and the ship has slowed to a near crawl. The sails hang limp. The sea is eerily flat, a vast mirror, undisturbed. The crew moves slower. Voices are hushed. No one says it out loud, but everyone is thinking the same thing. The ship is cursed. Superstition runs deep on the ocean. It's not just tradition, it's survival. Out here, reason fades. The laws of land don't apply. And when nothing around you makes sense, anything becomes possible. You've heard the rules by now. Don't whistle, it summons the wind. Never kill an albatross, it brings death. Don't sail on a Friday, it offends the gods. Always touch the mast before a battle. Always leave a coin under your pillow before shore leave. Never speak the name of a drowned man. Today, the rule is silence. A gull lands on the rail. The men stare at it. When it flies away, no one breathes for a moment. Something feels wrong. That night, a thick fog rolls in, slow, creeping, unnatural. The air turns damp and cold. Lanterns flicker, barely cutting through the mist. The ocean vanishes. You can't tell where the ship ends and the sky begins. The world feels smaller, trapped. You're on watch again. Midnight shift. The fog muffles everything, your footsteps, the waves, even your thoughts. It's too quiet. And then you hear it. Footsteps. But not yours. You freeze. Look around. No one's near. The sound comes again, slow, deliberate, right behind you. You turn. Nothing. Just mist. You grip your weapon tighter. You want to call out. But something stops you. You stay frozen for minutes. Maybe longer. Eventually, the fog thins. A shape emerges from the dark. A man, staggering. His face is pale, eyes wide. He says nothing, just points. You follow his hand. Toward the sea. There's something floating there. You call for help. A rope is thrown. The shape is dragged aboard. It's a body. Bloated. Gray. Dressed in rags that used to be pirate gear. No ship nearby. No wreck. Just him, alone in the fog. The captain orders the body searched. Nothing of value. Just a single coin in his mouth. An old superstition. A bribe for the ferryman. A payment for safe passage to the afterlife. The crew holds a quiet service. No prayers. Just silence. The body is wrapped and lowered back into the sea. The fog lifts an hour later. The wind returns. But the mood does not. That night, someone marks the mast with charcoal. A sigil. You don't recognize it. Neither does anyone else. No one claims it. No one erases it. In the days that follow, things get stranger. A barrel of fresh water goes bad overnight. The carpenter finds a crack in the hull that wasn't there before. One man wakes screaming, says he saw a woman standing on the waves, calling to him. He refuses to go near the edge of the ship after that. They have to tie him down during night watch. You ask the oldest crew member, a man they call Bones, if he's seen anything like this before. He nods slowly. Says nothing. You ask what it means. He says, some ships carry more than men. You don't sleep well after that. The ship continues its course. The wind is steady. The food holds out. But something's off. A tension in the air. A feeling in your stomach. Like the ship is being followed by something you can't see. Something that doesn't need sails or oars. Just patience. The nightmares return. You dream of the ocean swallowing the deck, of hands reaching up from the water, of drowning in silence. You wake gasping, heart pounding. You're not alone. Half the crew is having the same dreams. The captain forbids any talk of curses. He doubles the rations of rum, orders more singing, more dice games, tries to drown the fear in noise and drink. It doesn't work. One man jumps overboard, leaves behind a note, gibberish, smeared in something red. Another claims to have heard voices in the bilge. Laughing, the surgeon finally speaks up, says the crew needs grounding. A ritual, maybe, something to calm the ship. You don't believe in spirits. Or you didn't. But you join in. At midnight, a small group gathers on deck. Bones leads the right. He sprinkles rum, burns a page from the ship's log, whispers something in a language you don't recognize. The air shifts, just slightly. The next morning, the sea is calm again. But it feels normal, for the first time in weeks. The crew is different too. No more nightmares, no more shadows, just work. You don't talk about what happened, not out loud. But sometimes, late at night, you see the mark still carved on the mast. Faint, but not fading. A reminder that some parts of the sea remember who you are and what you've done. The pirate code, brotherhood, betrayal, and the illusion of choice. If there's one thing that keeps a pirate crew from devouring itself, it's the code. Not law. Not morality. Just the code. You remember the moment you signed it. The ship's articles, written in faded ink on yellowing parchment, held down by a dagger stabbed into the captain's table. Everyone signs, even the reluctant, even the desperate. You dip the quill into a pot of squid ink and scrawl your name, or something close to it. It felt ceremonial then. Meaningful. Now it feels like a warning. The articles vary from ship to ship, but the bones are the same. Shares will be divided according to rank. Loot is not to be stolen before it is counted. Cowardice in battle is punishable by death. Arguments will be settled by vote, or by duel. Injuries are compensated. Disobedience is not. You live by it now. You breathe it. It's the only order in a world that should have none. But like any system made by men, it's flawed, fragile, and when tested, it breaks in silence. It begins with a rumor. Someone's hiding extra loot. A few coins missing. A piece of silver gone. It's not enough to notice, not at first. But someone does. The quartermaster tightens inventory. The bosun starts checking personal stashes. Tension rises. No one says the word mutiny. But it hangs in the air, heavy and toxic. You see it in the eyes of the men during roll call. The longer glances, the whispered conversations, the sudden silence when officers pass. And then it happens. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just a body, found near the powder room. Throat cut, a knife still in hand. It's the carpenter. Quiet, reliable. He built half the ship's furniture. No one expected it to be him. Except maybe someone did. The quartermaster demands answers. The captain is furious. Everyone is a suspect. The articles are clear. Murder outside a battle is treason. The crew gathers. Another vote. But this time, it's not justice. It's politics. Blame is tossed like a torch. Eyes shift. Voices rise. The lines between guilt and suspicion blur until they're meaningless. In the end, no one is punished. No one confesses. But everything changes. The brotherhood is broken. Piracy thrives on shared purpose, shared danger, shared reward. But once that thread unravels, nothing holds. You notice it in small ways first. Less laughter. More isolation. Men sit with their backs to the wall. Knives are kept closer. You sleep with yours under your blanket now, fingers wrapped tight around the hilt. The captain tries to rally morale. Promises a new target. A coastal port known for its wealth and its lack of defenses. The crew cheers, but it's hollow. Forced. You sail anyway. 2 days out, another fight breaks out, this time over nothing. A spilled drink, a mistaken word. One man is stabbed in the side. The surgeon stops the bleeding, but says he won't walk the same again. The vote is split on punishment. No sentence is carried out. The code weakens. You see it every day. Orders questioned. Tasks ignored. The quartermaster yells more than he speaks now. The captain's voice grows hoarse from shouting. And then one morning, you wake to find the armory ransacked. Powder stolen. Blades missing. The captain locks down the lower decks. He calls a meeting, not to punish, but to plead. He reminds the crew of the code, of the shares, of the future. He's not a tyrant, this captain. He earned his position through blood and cunning, but even he knows he's losing control. That night, you're woken by screams. You rush above deck. The sky is lit by fire. The galley is burning. Someone set it ablaze. Buckets are passed. Water is flung. The flames die slowly, but the damage is done. Food supplies ruined. The cook badly burned. A barrel of fresh water cracked and leaking. The captain stares at the wreckage, face like stone. He doesn't speak. Not for a long time. Then he gives a single order, turn north. No one questions him. The crew obeys, but not because they trust him. Because they have no choice. The port is forgotten. The plan abandoned. Now, it's survival. You sail north, toward colder winds, harsher seas, and far fewer ships. The mood darkens with the sky. Snow begins to fall. The sails turn stiff. The ropes freeze. Hands blister and crack. But the silence on deck is worse than the wind. Men stop talking. They don't sing anymore. They barely look at each other. Whatever unity you once had is gone. The code is still posted in the mess hall, but no one reads it. It's a relic now. A memory. A joke. You start to dream of land again. Not for rest, but escape. You imagine slipping away during the next stop. Disappearing into a coastal town. Selling your share. Starting over. You know it's fantasy. You've seen your face in reflective water. You're not the person who signed those articles. You're harder, colder, and too far gone. Still, you hold the thought like a charm. Something to keep the madness at bay. Because if you don't, you might start believing the whispers. That there's another mutiny coming. That the captain won't see the next full moon. That the code, your only law, your only truth, is already dead. The last storm, survival, sacrifice, and the end of the voyage. It begins with a cloud. Not large. Not black. Just there, unnatural, too still, hovering at the edge of the sky like a warning. You see it first during your watch. The sea is quiet. The air, thick and sour. The sun hangs low and blood orange, casting strange shadows across the deck. The gulls are gone. The crew speaks in whispers. No one says it out loud. But they know. A storm is coming. Not just any storm. The storm. You've been through squalls before. Sudden rains, violent winds, days lost to chaos. But this feels different. Worse. Like something alive is watching. Waiting. By dusk, the sky is bruised with roiling clouds. Wind tears at the sails. The temperature drops sharply. Rain begins, slow and heavy, like coins falling from the heavens. The captain orders the sails trimmed. The ship turned into the wind. The crew lashes everything down, barrels, crates, ropes, masts. You tie yourself to a beam, just in case. Then the storm hits. It doesn't arrive. It strikes, like a hammer from the gods. Waves rise like walls. Black water crashes across the deck. The ship groans and screams beneath your feet, timbers straining, rigging snapping like gunfire. You hold on. You pray, not to God, but to the sea, the mast, the wood, the ropes. Anything that will listen. Men are swept away. One moment they're there, shouting, running, trying to secure a sail, and then they're gone. A splash, a scream, silence. The helmsman is lost early. A wave hits the wheel, snapping it in half. The captain grabs it himself. His face is wild, soaked, lit by lightning. You see something in his eyes, not fear. Acceptance. The sky is fury. Lightning forks across the clouds. Thunder shakes your bones. You see the mast crack, not break, just crack, like a bone bent too far. Splinters rain down. Someone's arm is broken. Another is knocked unconscious. The carpenter works in the dark, hammering patches on a flooding hull. Water rises in the lower decks. The pump crew is overwhelmed. You take a turn. You bail with a bucket, a cup, your hands. Anything. The storm doesn't stop. Hours pass. Or maybe it's days. The sky is a smear of gray. You forget what the stars look like. The food is gone. The rum is low. The water is tainted with salt. By the third day, the crew is delirious. Some scream at the wind. Others laugh. One man dances barefoot on the slick deck, calling himself King of the Tempest, before he vanishes over the side. No one mourns him. You don't sleep. You can't. Even when the winds ease, and they do, eventually, the damage is done. The mast is leaning. The rudder cracked. Half the crew is dead or missing. The rest are shadows, sunken-eyed, trembling, silent. The captain doesn't speak for a full day. When he does, his voice is hoarse. We find land. Or we die. The decision is made. You set a desperate course toward the nearest landmass. It's days away, maybe more. Navigation is guesswork now. The maps were soaked. The compass damaged. You steer by instinct. And luck. You ration the remaining food. A few moldy biscuits, some salted fish. One barrel of water. You drink only when you must. Your lips crack, your stomach knots, your vision blurs. But you don't stop. And then, finally, you see it. Land. A jagged shape on the horizon. Trees, cliffs, smoke rising in the distance. The crew erupts. Weak cheers, tears, some collapse. You make it to shore. The ship runs aground on a sandbar. You leap into the surf, knees buckling as your feet hit sand. You crawl. You breathe. You're alive. But barely. The survivors set up camp inland. A clearing just off the beach. There's food, roots, berries, even a few goats. Water from a spring, firewood, shelter. You feel like a ghost, wandering through it all. There's no celebration, just survival. The captain doesn't come ashore for 3 days. When he does, he's thinner, paler, quieter. He speaks little, stares at the ocean a lot. One night, he disappears. Some say he took a small boat and rowed out, trying to find the wreck. Others think he walked into the jungle. No one finds him. The crew holds a final vote. Do they try to rebuild the ship? Do they split up? Do they stay? You vote to stay. So do most. The sea has taken too much. In the weeks that follow, you begin to remember what peace feels like. You sleep without rocking, eat without gagging, walk without bracing, but you still flinch when the wind howls. Still wake in the middle of the night, hand reaching for a knife that's no longer there. You and the others build huts. Catch fish, tell stories about the raids, the storms, the silver, the ghosts, but never about the ones who didn't make it. Some begin to carve a new code, not for pirates, but for survivors. You help. It's simpler, kinder, less about punishment, more about balance. You keep your old cutlass, but you bury your pistol. You plant a tree above it. You watch it grow. And sometimes, late at night, when the stars come out, you walk to the shoreline and sit on the sand. You listen. The sea still whispers. But now, it sounds more like memory, and less like threat.